Now, recently, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley, a huge opponent of both the ACA and Medicare for All, hosted a town hall where they talked about healthcare. He actually got an earful from one of his constituents about his quest to destroy the ACA and to prevent any sort of meaningful change in the healthcare system. Now, killing the ACA would, of course, be disastrous. Millions of people, including those with pre-existing conditions like diabetes, asthma, heart disease, sleep apnea, yes, that's a pre-existing condition, acid reflux, which, by the way, I personally have, skin cancer, all that stuff would end up losing what little coverage they already have. Now, an Iowa woman, town hall, had asked Grassley what his plan was to cover those people, and this is his response.
What is your plan to keep millions of Americans like myself covered? Those of us with pre-existing conditions, people who are on their parents' insurance, and again, people like myself who need life-guaranteeing medication. We will lose our insurance, and I'd probably be dead in 2 months.
Well, there's a lot of, and she's asking only because the courts may declare it unconstitutional. And I don't think the courts are going to declare it unconstitutional.
You've voted 7 times to repeal it.
Yes.
Why? What are you going to do with people like myself?
What? First of all, it's not going to get repealed.
I'm going to ask you, let me restate my question. I want you to answer me personally, as a person whose life depends on insurance.
Sure.
I would be dead in 60 days or less without the Affordable Care Act.
Is it because of pre-existing?
Yes, and because of life guaranteeing medications.
There's no question about keeping pre-existing conditions in the market.
Because only the Affordable Care Act guarantees that.
If that's your question. And so the Affordable Care Act is the law of the land, and it's not going to be repealed by Congress. Do you think it's going to be repealed tomorrow?
You continue to vote for repeal.
The last time we voted for repeal was when McCain voted the other way, and there's no chance of repealing it now. Besides, if we pass it in the Senate, we'll get it through the United States House of Representatives. So what are you worried about?
I've been right to keep voting for repeal. You're threatening my life.
Damn. Okay, so I love how Grassley's like, I mean, we tried, but it's not going to happen now. I mean, yeah, we tried it so many times, but it's not going to get through. I mean, all we were doing was just playing politics anyway and voting for voting basically with your life on the line and against you. But don't worry now. What are you worried about? What are you worried about? And I love her answer. You're threatening my life. By continuing to vote against health care, to take health care away or health insurance away from millions of people, you are literally threatening my life. That's the problem. That's the problem. And see, again, that's what these politicians, they don't understand. This is not a political game, okay? It is to them, but to regular people, it's not a political game. This is something that is life and death for millions of people. Millions of people. And he's saying, what are you worried about? What are you worried about? I'm worried about the same thing that I'm always worried about. Making sure that I get my medication. Making sure that I can actually get health care if something happens to me and be able to afford it. So I don't die, because without health care, that's what will happen. Without my coverage for prescription drugs, that's what will happen. We die. People die from lack of health care in this country. Oh, the flippant attitude. I mean, my God, man. I mean, look, and this is why, but basically, why this was so important. Healthcare was the number one issue during the midterms, and why the Republicans ended up getting routed on this, right? I mean, what do you have if you don't have your health? You've got nothing. You've got nothing. That's all you have. That's why Republicans, they're running scared. That's why Grassley's like, what are you worried about? I mean, yeah, we voted to repeal it like 70 times, but, whatever. We failed, so we're just going to move on and pretend like we didn't do anything whatsoever. No, you're not going to get away with that. No, you're not going to get away with it. You can't get away with that. And I'm glad that there are people that, are in his constituency that are holding his feet to the fire for his votes. We're not going to let that go. Basically, you tried to kill these people by making sure that they can't afford their health insurance. I mean, come on. Come on. And so, all right. Now, there's one more thing here that I wanted to point out, and that's, of course, her question, right? So her question was, what are you going to do for us? What are you going to do for us if we end up losing the ACA? If you were successful, what kind of plan were you going to have? Will that help make sure to pay for pre-existing conditions? Now, of course, he says, yeah, pre-existing. Yeah, well, we're sure we'll do pre-existing. Well, in their previous healthcare plan, which, by the way, is to go back before the ACA, before they were actually forced into trying to make a plan, was, you know what? Not interested in covering pre-existing conditions. We're going to create high-risk pools for people with pre-existing so that, well, the problem with, of course, those high-risk pools is only sick people are in them. So without healthy people to spread out the cost, which, by the way, that's what single payer does. That's what the ACA tried to do, is to spread out the costs among healthy people so that sick people can also be able to afford their health insurance. So they can get that health insurance, so they can get that health care that they need. These high-risk pools, put them all into one pool, and what does that do to the price? It jacks up the price insanely so that these people, and it creates a death spiral, and that death spiral actually is a literal death spiral because you have the cost that goes so high, and these people can no longer afford their medications. What do you think happens? They die. They die. So that's what happens here. And so, but on that, right, as far as that, their plan is concerned, they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. And not only that, but I will point out how scared they are of single payer. That's why they're saying, well, Obamacare is a lot of land now. So no, we're not going to get rid of it. In fact, they're freaking out that Trump tried to get rid of it through this ridiculous court action. And I did that segment a couple of weeks ago. And so they're not running against the ACA. They're defending it in a weird way, which is very strange. And that is quite the shift. And of course, that is, I think, because of the prevalence of single payer now dominating the discussion and how over 70% of Americans want single payer healthcare. So now one more thing. There's a video here from that woman who, after that town hall, had a message for Grassley. Let's take a look.
I asked Senator Grassley yesterday why he'd voted 7 times to repeal the Affordable Care Act and why he wouldn't come up with a proposal that would cover with insurance people like myself with pre-existing conditions. I don't know why that question was so hard to answer. I'm still waiting for the answer from him.
Girl, you're going to be waiting a long time. Why? It's because there is no plan. There is no answer to that question that they have. They never had an answer, and hopefully voters are not going to forget that fact. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.